This man. I hear Wednesday, I'll come in and come down. There was somebody else who did. First Citizen Trust, a merchant of the year.
Yes. We can do that afterward.
Yeah, please, we need to go. Ready?
Okay, I'd like to call to order the Kaiser's Community Diversity Engagement Committee. Okay, first order of business is approval of January minutes. I will entertain a motion.
I move to accept the January minutes as they are written.
I second it. Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Minutes are approved as written. Interested citizens, is there anybody that wants to share, Dawn? Yes. Thank you. Kathy? Come on down, tell us,
Oh,
did you want to share anything with us?
no, sorry, I thought it just said new sign in here. That's why.
All right, very good. Thanks for coming to join us. All right, so we're gonna start with Ashley and Eduardo from CBEL for their presentation.
Please here.
Yes, please. Make sure you state your name and city of residence.
Who's on? Oh, there we go.
Yeah, just make it closer.
There we go. All right, my name is Ashley Russell and I live in the city of Salem and I work with CBEL.
My name is Eduardo Angulo, and I'm the deputy director of CBEL, and I live in the city of Salem.
Go from there.
Yep.
Yes. Good evening and thank you for having us. We appreciate the Kaiser Community Diversity Engagement Committee for creating a space to talk about connection, belonging, and community well-being. I'm a founding member of the Harman Norgate Neighborhood Family Councils, and also the designer of the council's concept in Salem Kaiser. The CBEL mission is to build community resiliency that strengthens families and supports world-class education in Salem Kaiser. Everything we share tonight, especially work happening here in Kaiser, connects directly to that mission.
All right, and as I said, my name is Ashley and I am CBEL's assistant director. At CBEL, we know that resilient communities don't happen by accident. They're built intentionally through 3 strategies that we refer to as our theory of change. The first is civic engagement, that families shape the decisions that affect their lives. Systems integration, when schools, nonprofits, and agencies work with families, not around them, and understand that those closest to the problems are also closest to the solutions. And finally, equity, that every family has what they need to protect and nurture their children. Our neighborhood family councils are how our theory of change comes to life in the neighborhoods.
The neighborhood family councils are a school-based, family-led, parent-led, neighbors-led group in Title I neighborhoods, including Kaiser schools, Kennedy Elementary, and Cummings Elementary. Their mission is to promote the resiliency of families and their children through the 5 strengthening family protective factors. Number one, parental resilience, building caregiver confidence and coping skills. Number two, positive social connections, reducing isolation through family networking. Knowledge, number three, knowledge of parenting skills and child development, supporting children's growth. Number four, concrete support in times of need, connecting families to resources. You will know more about that. And number five, children's social and emotional competence. That is big for us. Helping kids manage emotions, relationship, and skill academic success. The Neighborhood Family Council members reflect the racial, cultural, linguistic, and lived experience of the families they serve. It is all, the only rule actually that the councils have is that it has to be representing the diversity of not just the school population, but also the neighborhood. They are held accountable by the neighbors and list to those neighbors to help identify priorities, lead solutions, and partner with schools, agencies, and service providers to build community resilience in their neighborhood. The Neighborhood Family Council leaders receive outward mindset, leadership, and civic engagement trainings to build confidence and influence. The activities include bilingual parent classes and school-based engagement on social emotional learning, promoting school attendance and readiness, and neighborhood-led events, all intentionally designed to strengthen the 5 protective factors that I just mentioned. At schools like Kennedy and Cummings, this includes the famous Fun Fridays, parent classes, literacy nights, assemblies, community events, and direct financial support, all led or co-led by families themselves.
And our civic engagement, to amplify the family leadership beyond just the neighborhood, CBEL also convenes our every other month CBEL collaborative gatherings. These usually see anywhere from 70 to 100 or so local attendees, community members, council members, system leaders, city leaders, all across the board. Our council leaders with lived experience are always leading the conversations at these collaborative gatherings that build trust, that becomes social capital to lead to influencing policy, guiding decisions, and shaping our systems improvements. Because of what we've heard from the neighborhood, CBEL also supports tangible needs assistance, advocating for housing security and home ownership opportunities, and is bringing in evidence-based social emotional learning curriculum from Yale University called Ruler, as well as forming strong partnerships that are addressing neighborhood safety and the Community Violence Reduction Initiative in Salem.
One of the clearest examples of CBEL's work in Kaiser is the Fun Fridays. I don't know if any of you have been have attended our Fun Fridays. We do them at St. Edwards, the back of St. Edwards. They have that open space and that covered area. That is our playground during the summer, and there are families from all walks of life in Kaiser, especially from these two neighborhoods of Cummings and Kennedy, that come and enjoy a lot of engagement, but especially this past year we brought in 48 community organizations, government agencies, and nonprofits, bringing the resources to the families in English and Spanish, so they can support the families while they're having fun with all the activities that are arranged for the Fun Fridays. 4 hours of pure joy, pure fun. At Comets, the Winter Family Night. It is very special. It's going to happen this year, next Friday. Next Friday. And that's the only one that it combines also with resources. We get around 450 people, mostly the children and preteens. And we do a lot of community raffles, not only for the parents, but for the children. Okay,
Yeah, so at Kennedy last year, their Winter Wonderland brought in over 500 participants. And they have done bilingual parent classes and staff appreciation events and doing financial support, all family led. Last year, they also had a harvest festival with 480 participants and received 475 pumpkins. I think I have maybe some pictures here that show a little bit of that. We also just launched an infant, toddler, kindergarten play group for the Cummings and Kennedy neighborhoods in November. The first gathering had 13 families with 30 children. They receive a meal. It's promoting parents engaging and playing with their children during this time, and they're learning, to just really engage with their kids, and we're providing early literacy tools and engagement during those play groups. And they get a gift card for coming, as well as there's a raffle of an additional gift card. We have heard stories of that gift card providing in real time assistance for families that night, maybe even gas for the next day when they didn't know how they were going to be getting to work. And the playgroup is also starting to incorporate the ruler social emotional learning component, the tools and the skills of that.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
So like these events are promoted at the school? And
Yes.
are they only for the school or are you inviting the community to that?
Well, Eduardo, into that.
yes, it is. We promote it at the schools because that's where the families are. But anybody from those two neighborhoods, we partner with the Cummings neighborhood and with the Kennedy neighborhood associations. And they always there, and so it is a partnership that, because the councils, the charter calls, not just for the parents or the kids at the school, but also for the neighbors. Okay. So for instance, as I was mentioning about the Fun Friday, this past July 25th, I think I mentioned that we have 150 families, close to 650 participants. And of course, the 47 community organizations, nonprofits, and government agencies, bringing the resources to the families. Otherwise, families had to go all over town looking for those resources. When they come to the Fun Fridays, they got all those resources there. So across all the efforts of what we are doing, the things that we see is stronger social connections. One of the biggest issues that we're finding in our community, especially this is not exclusively of low-income families. It's happening across all families. High levels of toxic stress and isolation. As you know, with the children with high levels of anxiety. And for us, the Fun Fridays is precisely come together. There are people that are supporting you. You're not alone. For us, it's important in order for us to help parents build that parental resiliency, the support for children in social, emotional development, and the concrete support that is so important. From the civic engagement perspective, these events invite families into leadership. When we talk about the volunteers, in order to put this event together, this is an army of around 50 volunteers to make sure that the parents, that the children, when they come to this event, is fun from the moment they arrive until the moment they leave. And we're very proud because guess who these volunteers are? Many of them are members of the other councils. We have 5 councils in Harman Norgate, in Washington Elementary and Washington Neighborhood, Highland Elementary and Highland Neighborhood, and of course, we just started 2 new neighborhood family councils at Yoshikai and at Richmond, all Title I schools, because we are after, supporting these families that need us the most.
And so equity is embedded in how CBEL operates. We have 3 council members who currently sit on our board of directors, ensuring that our community's priorities guide our strategy and our resource allocation. And the board and the staff also reflect the ethnic and gender diversity of Salem and Kaiser.
So in closing, CBEL and the neighborhood family councils show what is possible when families lead, systems listen, and equity guides all the actions, all the interactions. By centering lived experiences and promoting the strengthening protective factors, we create resiliency in neighborhoods, thereby reducing isolation and stress and build belonging for all.
So again, our mission is to build a community resilience that strengthens families and supports world-class education for Salem and Kaiser. And that is only possible through the partnerships and the strength of our community and our neighbors and our neighborhoods. Thank you so much for your time, and we're happy to answer any other questions if you have them.
Thank you. First of all, thank you so much for being here tonight, and thank you for this amazing presentation for us. I personally did not know about CBEL, and it's eye-opening to me. Living here, being in this area, I did not know. I think you guys are doing an absolutely beautiful job. It's just nice to hear. Again, we're working as a community, how we can lift each other up. So thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for the presentation. I have just a couple of questions out of curiosity, and I think for our committee as well. How long has CBEL been around?
So, Eduardo can talk more about the very beginnings of CBEL. I came on in the end of 2021, but it started in 2019
Okay.
as a project under Mountain West Center for Community Excellence. And so they gathered a bunch of educators and interested parties around Salem and Kaiser at the convention center. I think it was around 200.
Right here,
So here.
right
Yeah.
here, this convention center.
So that's how I know that it got started, and it's completely evolved since then. And we became our own nonprofit in September of 2024. But I'll let Eduardo can also speak a little bit more about the beginnings.
Don't get me going. For me, for those who don't know me, I'm the co-founder of the Salem Kaiser Coalition for Equality. We created this organization with the help of like 25 multiracial, multi-ethnic community leaders from the NAACP charter of Salem Kaiser to Latino leaders of the Mano a Mano Family Center, Latinos Unidos Siempre, an organization that used to be called Causa Pro Immigrant Rights Coalition for Oregon, and a group of retirees was called 100 Good People. And for us is CBEL is truly a representation of this community. The fact that we asked that the 9 members had to be from different ethnic and race backgrounds is extremely important for every child to feel represented in the council, for every mom, every dad to feel represented in the council. And what I was telling you, that team, a troop of volunteers, guess what? is led by members of the other different councils. Families, they're starting to bring their kids, so it's becoming multi-generational. And so they're owning the solutions of isolation and working with the 5 protective factors that we mentioned earlier. We are working on transforming Salem Kaiser. In our board, we had the chief of police is member of our board, same as the chief of police of Salem. And a group of what we call grass tops, leaders of organizations like Sue Bloom used to be the leader of the Boys and Girls Club of the Willamette Valley. We have like Josh, who is the CEO of Catholic Community Services. We have a member from Chemeketa Community College, and they have, which is Lisa Harnish, who is the CEO of the hub of the Willamette Valley.
Do you have any questions? Mary?
Do you guys only do grade school, middle school?
Only
Do you hit the high
elementary
schools?
schools.
Do you hit the high schools too?
Well, when the families come, they come with all their kids.
Okay.
And it is middle schoolers and high schoolers, you know, and young adults. Yes.
For the purpose of forming the councils, we go off of the elementary school catchment area and we look at Title I elementary school data when choosing where we're going next, looking at their literacy scores, their attendance, the community violence data and other factors when choosing. So we do go off the elementary schools, but of course, yeah, like he said, the families even from the local high schools, they're all invited and they do come.
Right?
Okay, I'll jump back to back just to save time. How do you guys fundraise to do what you do? How do you guys raise funds to be able to serve the community with the programs you do? And being in a community, so CBEL has been around since 2019. With over the years, especially after COVID, what are the needs you guys are seeing where we should perhaps pay closer attention? I know you guys have a mission on what you're trying to accomplish, but being on the ground, being at that schools, what are you guys seeing? So to speak, what's the most needs you guys are seeing? Is it the social part? Is it, if you guys are to pick one thing they're seeing the most, then we should know we should pay attention to kids in elementary school. What you guys will tell us. Thank you.
Yeah, so the second question, or sorry, the first question for as far as fundraising goes, right now we're completely funded by grants. So we do still have Mountain West as a primary funder. And then we recently received a large grant from Meyer Memorial Trust, and we've received grants from Oregon Community Foundation, and then we have had some event sponsors, local businesses investing in the events. So that's all of our funding at this point. And then secondly, I mean, I can let Eduardo answer this as well. But we do our anonymous family needs surveys twice a year. In the winter and in the summer at the Fun Fridays. And some of the common needs have been housing insecurity, mental health, social, emotional health needs, and then just that tangible support. And then neighborhood safety was on there. It hasn't been as high as it used to be, but it is mentioned at times. But what's been really cool is the transformation of Northgate Park since getting a family council. That families were terrified to take their kids there. There was a lot of gang activity, graffiti, and now they have a beautiful, like 2-block long mural, and they're getting permanent bathrooms put in, and the families have basically taken the space back. And they're hosting their own soccer teams, little, families just decided to do that. We had no part in it, and they just felt safe enough to be in that space again. So because of what we saw on those surveys, because it was mentioned, safety in that park was on the original ones, but now that has moved kind of down in the priority because they feel safer. But then Eduardo, you can also.
Yeah, simple. And when she's talking about Northgate Park, I lived for 22 years with my wife and my youngest daughter We live right there at Norgate Park. We have been covering graffiti for all those years. But now we have found ourselves in a situation in where we have the support of the Salem police and in patrolling around the park and the neighborhood. And we have our parents that wouldn't go to the park. That's how we started. No parent will come to the park. And I said, will you become part of the council for you to see the transformation? One mom, one of the founding members, she has 3 girls, all went to Hammond Elementary. And she's like, no way that I will go to Norgate Park with my 3 girls. We're afraid of going over there. And now she's very proud. We have a 35 panel mural that was done by the secretary of the Norgate Neighborhood Association. She is a professional artist, and she, with the help of neighbors and council members, over a period of 9 months, painted those 19. You're all welcome to come. It is fun to be at Norgate Park now. So it's a complete transformation. And I think that she mentions, how do we select what we do? We don't. The council members do through the anonymous surveys of needs. And I love that question that you posed, because that we love to answer that. You know, it is not anybody who is kind of like a staff member who decides this is what we need to do. No, it is centered in the decisions of the affected members of the council, the ones that guide themselves by the results of the anonymous surveys. And that's how we do our parent classes. That's how we do all the activities based on those anonymous surveys or needs from the families.
The other one I just want to mention real quick, is with the social emotional learning, is kindergarten readiness and the literacy. We already know that this is a major problem. They're actually having that town hall tonight about literacy, in Salem. And so that's, we know that that is something that families are dealing with, and they're already stressed. And that we want to promote parents being their children's first teachers and helping their kids be ready for kindergarten. So that's another part of one of our priorities as well.
Any final question? Thank you both for coming.
Thank you for having us. This is very humbling. Thank you.
And if you do want to ever join us for those collaborative gatherings, we've been told that this space just is a very safe place, and people enjoy coming and having that time to just talk heart to heart about what's going well and what would better look like in our community. We always take an appreciative inquiry approach. You can sign up on our website for the email list and you get those invitations. Our next one will be on March 5th, and it is going to be about early learning and
And we offer
literacy
breakfast
and breakfast.
and
Yeah.
Colombian
There is.
coffee.
And it's free to the net.
All great.
Thank you very much.
And I do have some brochures. Would you guys like a copy?
Yeah, if you give them to Don and make sure we get them.
No.
So next we're gonna hear from our Salem Kaiser School Board. This one's for you, Larry.
Are you able to see here? Oh, good.
Yep, I think up here and on the TV.
Yeah.
I think so.
Same way here.
Wow. You can join him if you like.
Oh, that's it.
And again, please introduce yourself and tell us where you're from. Or what part of the community you serve.
Good evening, Chair Coons, esteemed members of our the Kaiser Diversity Committee, Councilwoman, and Don and as city recorder and assistant city manager and all our citizens who have attended today. And my name is Satya Chandragiri. I live in Salem, Oregon, Salem Kaiser School Board Director, representing Zone 4, but we take care of at large everywhere, Kaiser, Salem, West Salem, etc. And this is my second term. This is my 6.5 years into it. And I have, go ahead.
Chrissy Hudson, also school board director for Salem Kaiser District. And sure, we have 7 and we represent all of Salem Kaiser. So we're zone 6 for Kaiser. So thank you for letting us be here too.
Thanks for coming.
So I really appreciate this opportunity. I just want you all to know that I so much. I just sent a little quick email to you. And I also sent an email of the slides which I thought of using based on the 3 questions that you had asked. And also some other documents, which please feel free to share with anybody. They are all public domains. It's your school, our school. So I just want to use that. So, and Salem Kaiser School is the 2nd largest school. And just to kind of give you an idea, we have close to 37,000 kids in our school altogether. So 37,208 students altogether. And we have 65 schools and close to 5,000 employees. So there are a lot of things going on and a lot of things have happened. And so I just wanted to narrow the presentation to those 3 questions to start with. Then we are open to any questions that you may want to follow up with based on that. So I refer to the Salem Kaiser School Board's website. I think that's a good starting point to get lots of your answers. Because one of the things we have to remember is we are a policy governance board. That means we, as board, we report to you all. We report to the citizens. We report to the people who live in this Salem Kaiser region. So think of it like teachers have their union leaders, superintendents have their union leader. We are the union leader for children and families. So in other words, communities' hopes, dreams, aspirations, and concerns. Ideally, we should listen, and then we report back to you. But we create a goal, and then we delegate it to 1 employee. We have 7 board members. That's the superintendent. And superintendent in turn has 5,000 employees. Just think of it like you're building your building. You want to build your home. You decide your blueprint. You decide the budget you have. Then you hire a main contractor. And that main contractor has many subcontractors. At every stage, the contractor will come and say, this much we have completed, disperse the next amount of money and we tell the contractor, you stay within this limit, don't break the law, don't cross this limit or that limit. That's called executive limitations. And stick to the blueprint, which is the goal and what we want. If you want 3-bedroom with 1 kitchen, 1 bathroom, then exactly that's the thing. So we have to set the goal. You delegate it through and then say, this is the executive limitation. We say, this is the budget within which you stay and follow all the laws and rules. And at every stage, you come and tell us how much you have reached close to that. And we have a responsibility of what we call informed oversight. So those are the gist of what as a school board director will do. So let's kind of go to the 3 questions that you had asked. You had asked a question saying, some of our parents want to know their children are getting bullied in the school. What are some of the things that you can do and you cannot do? So there are this QR code. If you can scan your camera, a cell phone, it'll take you to the website. But for today, I'm going to use the Salem Kaiser School Board website and walk you through this. So this is our website. Can you see? No. How does this come? Okay. So if you can, Okay. Now you can see this, right? So this is our Salem Kaiser website. It's a very busy website. There's tons of information. I don't think many school districts in the state has so much of information. So let's kind of go through that. And there's a tab called board, where you get all our school board directors. So under each of us, there's a photograph, there's a little thing where you can send an email to us. So you can click on that, it'll take you to an email. So I'm not going to send now, but what I'm trying to say is that is one way I want our citizens and parents and to keep in touch with us. You can send to each one of us or to all the boards. So that's number one, and also to superintendent. So it's really important. So let's kind of go back to that website. And then the question you asked about students and families, under that tab, you can scroll and then you go to safe and welcoming schools. This is really important for two reasons. One, the question about bullying, and your third question about how do you make our children from diverse communities feel safe, no bias incidents happen, etc. I really would like not only the leaders, but preferably all families to go through this and please review it. There is so much of information. The biggest challenge I've seen in 6.5 years is a lot of people don't know what they don't know. Then there is a lot of feelings and hurt feelings and fear and thing. I want to call it what it is. Ignorance will lead to fear. Fear will lead to projecting all kinds of, we make up the story and then we project it on each other. And that can easily breed fear and hatred and scared, and people will start avoiding the schools and avoiding participation, etc. And that's not really good for our community, not for our children, not for our families. So then you kind of go through that. There's one on suicide prevention, there's one on mental health resources. And if you kind of go under that preventing abuse and harassment, that is the place where you will see a lot of information, both within our school and in general for parents and families and community to learn what is bullying, what are the best practices, etc. So then you talk about anti-violence and bullying prevention policies. Those are the ones which I sent it to you as an attachment. Here it really walks you through who can report. Students can report, teachers can report, any staff in the school, if you have noticed bullying, you don't have to be directly affected. Community members, anyone. So you can report, it will be anonymous unless it's legally required. So there it kind of walks you through what happens once the report is done. There's also a way to report called what's called Safe Oregon. That's another important thing. It's legislature had given the money, and that's a Safe Oregon. And it's an app. You can download it to your phone, make sure that we get the word out. What I've told, when I listened to a presentation from Safe Oregon, a lot more families can use it. Not everybody is aware of it. So it's not being fully used. So as soon as a Safe Oregon complaint is made anonymously through the app, or you can call the number, immediately the schools are contacted who all have signed up with. So it gets investigated. So there is more than one way to kind of get the word out. So what happens if there is investigating reports of bias, student bullying and harassment, and it kind of walks you through that. So what I decided to do is I just took one of the policy, INSP 006, which is about bullying. And then it kind of walks you through and tells you what are the different types of bullying, hazing, harassment, intimidation, bullying, cyberbullying, menacing, etc. covered under this. So it gives you the definition of what we call the bullying. Then who can report? As I said, anybody can report. Students can fill out a confidential report or meet a trusted school employee or use Safe Oregon. For a lot of our immigrant families, I really ask you, take somebody with you who can speak the language, or if you don't, some trusted person, you go into school, make sure the word gets out. The authorities can help you that if you can report it. Otherwise, a lot of our children are getting bullied and even the parents are not aware. The good old days when I was in school, bullies were there, but you could go home. Nobody will follow you because we didn't have phones. Now bullies will follow your bedroom. the 24/7 unrelenting through thing. Even parents can't identify because some of them will vanish the message and all kinds of things beyond my comprehension. Then what does it do once you go through either directly reporting to school or through Safe Oregon? It kind of walks you through who gets involved. School principals of each of the school is primarily responsible for investigating. So they may delegate it to somebody else, then they kind of have to decide, does it cross the line to become a criminal case? Or is it something that they can handle at a disciplinary level? Or it requires, is there anything else is going on which requires further threat assessment or suicide prevention? Because they all kind of go together. Then it kind of walks you through that particular policy, walks you through this will be kept confidential, except there are some exceptions. And both the parents of the child who has been harmed and who might have caused harm will be notified. And there are some exceptions to it. And the outcome, what happens to the outcome, and what are some of the ways in which the other associated policies along with bullying is handled. So this is just an example of what I wanted to kind of make sure your families and community and your committee knows about it. So this is one example of what I wanted to do. So then I just gave you the two QR code. One is on Safe Oregon, there's one which will take you to our Salem Kaiser School website, and you can kind of get through that. So now, if I'll kind of answer the questions towards the end. The second question is about the budget. Right? Good. The second question is, we are going to be having close to $25 million gap between our revenues and what it costs to educate, salaries, wages, thing. And it's really important the way I understand, I'm going to share. See, I can't speak for the board, but I can speak for myself. It's like running your family. It costs about $60 million to make the payroll every month in our school for all the 5,000 employees out there. So, and from what I have learned in the last go around, and I talked to ODE and I learned over my own is, we don't get the entire money. They kind of disperse it 11 times in a year. So the ODE will keep sending. So it depends on the number of children enrolled. That is one way the revenue is calculated. If the enrollment starts declining, the amount of money that comes into the school will be. Second thing is the attendance. That's also another thing. So those two are, there's a very complicated way to calculate all that. And the money comes from multiple sources. Not all money can be used for salaries and wages. That's what's called unrestricted money is usually used for salaries and wages. Most of our money is spent on salaries and wages. Then there are certain restricted money, like the lunch money, you cannot use it as a salary. Right? The money that's used for, say, buying certain equipment, you cannot use it as salaries and wages. And then out of the money that you use for salaries and wages, which is the unrestricted money and the general fund, they call it, from mostly comes from the state. You have to set aside for first retirement and few other things, which takes a chunk of money out of it. So whatever is left, that's all we have. So there are two different strategies that I believe the school tried to use. They tried to say, since this is what is going on, it's really important to make sure that we don't allow this gap to keep widening every year, because then we'll be eating out of whatever is called end fund balance. That will leave us in a very precarious state every time. From what I can go through, in the last round when we went through, we were just left with about 2 weeks worth of salary money left. So that falls below our policy. So it's really important to make sure that that part, which we worked very hard to close that, but still we are left with 25 million. So it's really important to close this. So they took two approaches. One approach was to go and say, can we freeze the rise in the COLA and other things that normally every year we give to the teachers and staff. But I think that is one of those approaches. The other approach is what else can we do to cut? We as much as possible I want to not only speak for myself, but from the discussions I've heard, nobody wants anything that as much as possible that children facing, teaching, those kind of positions to be lost because we already kind of gone through one round of. So then how are we going to close it so that we don't put ourselves in a very precarious financial situation? Because then it will start affecting everybody. And there is no way we can go and get money from anybody else. So this is the reason these steps are taken. With the clear aim, we'll listen to the community, we'll listen to the teachers, we'll listen to the staff, and we'll also listen to the students and families. There are certain areas, as much as possible, we'll try to kind of protect it. And the breakdown of how the money, we are trying to think in terms of how to break down for the $23 million reduction is this particular slide. This was discussed in 2 community engagement outreaches. One was yesterday and one, I believe, was the day before. And I've sent a copy of original slides to this Wilson, so you all can have it. So this is the breakdown of that. This is the breakdown of that. They tried starting with the district level adjustment, that's close to 9 million. Then school-based adjustment, which will be close to 14 million. It will affect certain FTE positions. It will lead to some reduction of close to 60 positions each. So this is an example of that. So I thought of, I don't know if there's a, this is a small little,
While you're pulling that up, are there any questions?
yeah,
Robin?
And I actually have 2.
please.
I may have heard you wrong, I'm hard of hearing the word hearing aids. You said something about not all the parents utilize the website.
Safe Oregon website.
The same, okay, not all, how do you get that information to them? I mean, like, at the first of every school year, are they being handed a piece of paper, are they emailed, how are we assured that the parents actually get the information?
So I'll ask Chrissy because she has kids in the school, so she's both mom and the director. My kids are old, so
So when they started it, my kiddos were in elementary, the state of Oregon started that, and they had posted it, I've seen it several times since in different schools from elementary, middle and high. Posters and things around the school, and then they had it on the website. I don't know, I was just now looking for it to see if it's still, because they just did another update, they're often doing updates on the website. But that's something that I always see there. Also, so for parents, there's something called Student View for students and Parent View and some Parent Square, different messaging systems to parents, and I often see it there at the bottom. And then also, not only on the website, when I was back on, I was looking at the complaint resolution process near that area, and on every school. So when I look at McNary, I have seen it at the bottom. So when you start clicking on the little hyperlinks about contacting the district and safety and the bullying, I'm accustomed to seeing it with that. In addition to the suicide prevention, it's usually posted specifically for the high schools, all in the counseling offices and such. Because that's a scary topic, isn't it?
Yeah.
And this cyberbullying is really a big deal, and it affects our kids quite a bit. And so I've seen it posted in abundance for students and again, the adults.
So in just pulled up from our website, additional resources and support, there's Safe Oregon. If you click that, there's an online app you can call or the email. These are the ways in which.
I
So
think,
go ahead.
So each year also, so the schools will send out a re-registration for the parents to do, and it's quite lengthy, it feels sometimes. And I always see it attached at the bottom of that as well, so. They really do pass it on because they do like it to be a primary spot.
Yeah, a follow up to that, what about those families, because I mentored out at Kennedy, how many a lot of families don't have actual computers at home. So how do they get the information if they don't have one?
So there is a booklet they send out in the beginning. And that has got all this information, but I will be happy to take this question to our school superintendent and say, what are some of the ways in which we are publicizing Safe Oregon? And how are we doing it in different languages, different ways? But from what I'm hearing is it needs to be brought up multiple times because, in the beginning of the year, we get lots of papers. Sometimes families just leave it somewhere and yeah.
Quite a bit, actually. I'm really thankful you brought that up because we've been discussing that for quite some time with the district. And they did say they're working on it, putting more out there. And they do a lot of physical letters in multiple languages, like he said, that they've sent. Because I have a phone, I have tech, but oftentimes I can't maneuver through a lot of that stuff. So, there's a lot of lists and grandparents that are raising kiddos these days that can't maneuver through that. It's like,
My next question's about bullying. The process looks great on paper. It really does. But I guess is there follow through? I have an example. So I'm a child at Kennedy School and I'm being bullied and I go to my teacher and say, Johnny is pushing me around at recess and calling me bad names. I've just made a report. From that point on, what happens? What would happen to me? What happens to little Johnny?
I can speak for me.
Go ahead. This is what will theoretically supposed to happen according to the policy.
I actually want to know what happens.
Yeah, this is what I'm just going to just say this, and then I'm going to share with you the context and the history of what changed. I'm going to be really honest and candid in this meeting. I'm speaking as an individual board director. But I'm going back to my first term as well. One of the big challenge I noticed is among all the school districts, we have very high number of bullying, suspensions, and expulsion. Right? The state of Oregon, this used to be part of the report card every year. The bullying numbers, because they are all civil rights data collection. We are supposed to, by law, report to the Office of Civil Rights in Washington, D.C., and then they in turn will send it to the different schools. For some reason, the state of Oregon stopped putting that data in an easily accessible way in their website and also as part of the report card, annual report card. So when this was going on, in our first term, we brought this up and we said, no, this data should be presented in each school board meeting so that the community is aware. Because really important for the community to be aware. Because one of the things we noticed was children from Latino and Black families were getting suspended or expelled or getting into what we call exclusionary discipline, a 2:1 ratio to them. So it's like double the numbers proportionate to the community. Because to me, there are questions about civil rights of these children, disparate impact on the civil rights. And not all these suspensions, expulsions, or that information will come up to the board. First of all, even the board was not getting the actual data. And then the numbers will not come up to the board. Only few parents would decide to appeal all the way to the board. But it's not that everybody is satisfied with what's going on. There's a lot was going on. So this issue we discussed in our first term as a school board and said every month we would like this data. First, we wanted 5 years data. So we start seeing the trend. Then every month you tell us what's going on. And to be honest, getting the data is difficult in a lot of government agencies. So then what happened, it suddenly stopped in 2021. And then they said we were getting finally we managed to get the data, but now in the last 2.5 years, that has completely stopped. So why I'm telling you, because I think that not only parents and community, they really need a little bit more open and transparent system where everybody is aware of what's going on. Because to me, preventing bullying requires not just schools, it requires families, it requires community, and it requires all stakeholders to work together. Then only this problem we can get a handle on it. And unless we measure properly and once we are not transparent, we cannot change it. We cannot have accountability, we cannot bring systems change. And how do we know somebody's civil rights is violated or not if we don't measure and if we don't inform the family? And a lot of families don't know what they don't know, as I said in the beginning. So this is a big matter that we kept bringing it up. And this may be a topic that I would ask the diversity committee to really start asking questions to us first, saying, how do we know? I even went and tried to look at the data in the Office of Civil Rights in Washington, D.C.
So before we continue, one of the reasons I really encourage this conversation is because Larry and I are both dealing with bullying.
Yeah.
But it's at different schools. So Robinson area was my school. And I have 3 parents who are
So what does
just
happen?
at their end.
What
Because
does
they
happen?
don't know what else to do.
This is the
And
reason.
then Larry has a different situation. You want to share yours?
Sure. I don't think this school is, I was just there. My grandkids call it the cow park.
What school is that?
Kennedy?
Kennedy,
Okay.
is it Kennedy? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I have a friend who, has a child at that school and, she has talked to me because her son has been bullied for a long time. They have gone to the school, talked with the principal, talked with the vice principal, talked with the counselors, talked with the teachers. And they're being brushed aside. It even got to the point where the police had to get involved because the kids that were involved in doing the bullying were following her child home and causing issues there. Well, because they live on the border of Kaiser Salem, no one could do anything because the Salem police were saying it's a Kaiser issue. Kaiser saying it's a Salem issue, but she's like, no, it's the school issue because it starts in that school. It's following my son home. But the school has refused to do anything. And so she's asking me, what do I do? Because I've gone to the school. She said, I haven't gone to school board meetings and brought this up along with several other parents that their child is being bullied. But this school is refusing to step up to do something. What do a parent do in that case?
So, and I kind of want to hear Chrissy's point of view on this one, because she's a mom. So we take things a little bit personally when you're coming at our babies.
I wanna,
To see exactly how do we get an outcome? That's my main thing. How do we get justice for these kids who literally, one is refusing to go to school and having temper tantrums every day?
and can you do that as an example? Like using Larry's example, he has gone to the school, the parents have gone to the school. Now, what does the school do with that information? Who's contacted? What are the ramifications? And how do we stop it?
I am going to be very, very honest. I do get very, very emotional about this topic. Because and I probably will be too honest, and I'm probably. But since we're not
You
supposed
know
to,
what, that's why I asked.
yeah, we're not
Because
supposed
that's
to.
one of the things I like about you, because you're brutally honest, whether we like it or not.
Okay, well, it's so important, all hands on deck, that we are talking about this. And I think this is an important platform because I think it can help with accountability, because that is like the main reason that I ran for school board. Because I cannot stand any of our babies being bullied. That is not okay. And my kiddos went through similar issues and it literally breaks my heart to hear those over and over. And I'm gonna, again, I can't speak on behalf of the board here, we cannot. I'm gonna speak on behalf of myself, like you said, a mama, I'm a volunteer anyway, and I can speak for my own experiences. I will be truthful, I still do not know, I don't have an answer to that, and I've been asking it since day one, since before of what exactly happens. It does go through to the schools. And so for high schools, I understand, for example, I learned it at Title 16, middle school and high schools, the vice principals that deal with the discipline and the principals dealt with the academics. When my daughter came home 2 times in 1 week with a concussion from 2 different kids, one in the gym in front of teachers and plenty of people, the other in a classroom. And I went and spoke with them and they literally asked me, I'm sorry, what do you want me to do about this? And I went through a list. And even peers, because I had to leave abruptly for work to go get my kiddo, and the school called, come pick up your kid, you know, they've got a concussion again. One was a ball that they threw at the head, and the other one was a boy who punched her in the head because he was making fun of her for having gotten the concussion earlier on. And I went through a whole list. I even offered to come instruct, like share teachings of what happens when humans get concussions, what it can do later in life. And if we go on this path of bullying, being that bully, where it can lead to in our future, once we become adults. And I was denied that as well. I had a leader, a student that, she's kind of like a niece, I've known her my whole life, and she was on the little student leadership team. And she asked if she could present and do a teaching on concussion and share with her classmates, and she was denied that as well. There literally was nothing done. And I'm sorry, district, but this is true. And so, I'm still trying to find the answer. I thought there was a black and white that I could see, like you said, per instances, what kind of repercussions are there? At that point, when my daughter had those concussions, we were very fortunate because the way it stopped, they still had a school resource officer in the school, and he called and he said, guess what? These are your options. And he told us, he came to the house, even visited, he interviewed my daughter, and he said, you have all these options. We thought, well, we don't want the kiddo to get in trouble, but we need this to stop. They can't go on. And he simply had a conversation with the students and it stopped after that. And so he was such a blessing. My husband, we've been together almost 30 years, and I joke because he says, he hasn't seen me cry much, but I felt like I wanted to cry and give him a big hug, because that was exactly what I had hoped to hear from the schools when I spoke with them. And in fact, that particular vice principal's daughter went to the school, and I wished back that I would have said, because I said, you know, I know it's a big school and you can't watch everything and all the things. But what would you do if it was your daughter that this happened to? Because I love people, I love humans, I love our children genuinely. And if I wanted to be a teacher for a long time, I went to school for nursing because I'm compassionate about people. And I would be in that position because I'm passionate about it. And I would not want that to happen, and I would do everything in my power to stop it. So then I wondered, is it per school that determines this? What is it? And I've heard some other things that I don't know if I should share here or not. The closest I've come to getting an answer to your question as far as when and at what level. But what we've learned as board members is what's discussed out there in the open, and then what has come to those poor parents that are at their wits' end and don't have a choice to pull their child out of school. And as a mama and as a dad, I'm sure as anyone, it makes you ill when you're thinking of your daughter and child, your son, whomever you're sending to school, worried sick about what they're going through and how they're feeling, knowing that is going to stick with them forever unless a miracle happens. So they've learned the process, they've reached out, they've elevated their complaints, and then they'll come to us. And some of them, we as a board can decide if we hear it or not. I believe personally, honestly, that we should hear every time someone requests it. And then we can come up with a decision. One thing additionally, I don't know if I get to say this or not, a discussion that we've had that would be interesting is I would like to see us, before our time is up on the board, focus and push harder on that specifically. So we were told during that time that he was talking about 2020, there was a leniency on expulsions and all of those things. And one vice principal, this is what I wasn't sure if I should say also, actually, it sounded like there might be a cap on those as well. And so we need to look at that clearly, and I think that's very important. The number two things, we need safety for all of our kids. We need to make sure that they come home alive and well, and we need them to learn. So I just always wish we could get back to basics. So thanks for.
I think,
I'll come to you in just a second. Elena's been holding her question for quite some time.
Sorry.
Just go ahead, maybe you.
Yeah, just a-
question, yeah.
30 seconds. I think when I look back, a lot of times, a lot of things happen in our community. The greatest policy mistake our district and ours was removing those 13 SROs from our school district. When I look back, that was the biggest mistake we made, because those officers were the pivotal to working with our children, working with the family, just like Kirsty explained it. They have saved many children. We didn't have any in-school arrests. We didn't have this kind of problem. And as soon as, so granted, the nation was going through difficulty, but we kind of brought it down and took it out on these 13 officers, which had nothing to do with it. Children didn't know what is okay, what is not okay. The gang problem started and everything started coming into the school. So when I look back, I think that was the biggest single mistake. And nothing was put in place to teach people how to be safe and how to discuss what is right, what is wrong. You can have equity and also have accountability both at the same time. It is not one or the other. That's a false choice that was given. It was presented. And that narrative, I believe, harmed many. And in the process, what are we doing? We're spending much more. We spent $1 million for those 13 officers' salary, and the rest was supported by the Kaiser and the Marion County and Salem. Now we are going to be spending close to that in each of those equipments that we have put in place. We saw terrible incidents like what happened in Bush Park. Our community is aware of it. These things should not have. So any policy, we have to ask, what exactly are we trying to achieve by doing this? You can't just allow raw emotion to decide policy. And that's probably the biggest mistake, in my opinion, we had to make. And I was the chair and we really struggled hard. We brought it up as a board, but this was an operational thing and the context was different. In a way, it was the scariest decision the district went through. Board was not in support. Community was not in support. Marion County was not in support. And we have had there are all kinds of stakeholders. They brought somebody from New York to say why it is important. That has nothing to do with our community. And in the process, what we have lost is how to keep our children. I want my children to be safe both inside the school, outside the school. School cannot say it's only within my boundary, within my school hours that I can safeguard. And what happens? To me, community is school, school is community. There's one and the same. And we still haven't gotten back to that level of relational part. How to understand these children, and children learning to say, this is not right and this is wrong. Those kind of things we missed. And that's I have said this publicly in more than one occasion. And we still haven't got a level of transparency where the data also we stopped sharing in the public after making such policy decision. That is not something I have supported. I have made that very clear. How do we know what policy decision we made is working or not? Now nobody is thinking. When I try to go to the Office of Civil Rights in Washington DC, I can't even find our school district's data. Other schools are reporting it. So, and I tried to contact as many agencies. This is where we need some push from the community, NAACP and all others to say, no, these are our children. We need it. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I'm sorry.
No, thank you for being here. I think it's something that as a committee we have mentioned before, you tried before, and we need something we wanted to have you guys here so we could get clarification, ask questions. So first of all, thank you. I have tried to do a bundle question just for the sake of time. I hope it makes sense. One, when was decided that those officers were going to be removed? When did that happen? Two, sounds like it was a small investment having those officers in school versus what's happening now. Three, is it possible to bring those officers back? And four, and I can go back. From everything I've heard so far, it looks like that there is a resource where parents or students can go online and make thank you, if they're being bullied. But what I'm hearing so far is that it's falling back years. Is this what's happening? So thanks for the bundle. So I'm just trying to get it all at once.
So this decision was the superintendent, that means the district superintendent's decision saying this is our operational thing in the year 2019-20 that time, 20, I believe, 20. So I was the chair at that time. And for almost like a year, we pushed back and said, no, this may be operational, but it does. School safety is our responsibility. How do you implement the safety is the district's responsibility. There was a back and forth. I can send you all the information as public record. If you're interested, I'll send it to you. We pushed hard. We kind of got all kinds of data from the Marion County DA, etc., and said this is not a correct decision. But they still went ahead because the political narrative and there's more like an appeasing one or two groups in this community. But the people who have been harmed are the same children from Latino family and the Black family. It's such high disproportionate. You know, Salem police had done a report on basically violence. You go through that in those years when we removed the school resource officer, before that, it skyrocketed, 320% increase in violence and arrests.
That's when we stopped reporting.
When we stopped reporting, we stopped the SRO, we stopped the thing. So the data cannot lie. Data doesn't care about narrative. And who are the disproportionately affected? Latino and Black family. So what did we achieve by doing that? My personal opinion is nothing. We actually made it worse. Because now children don't know what is illegal. These kids, when they grow up, are they going to take law into their own hands? If there is a family member who's going through, say, domestic violence or problem. So there's such a valuable opportunity we lost, is what I see. And I have repeatedly asked our current board leadership, we need to get the data back. Why is that not being reported? I have not got a clear answer. It's being stonewalled.
And
You were first, second, we were third.
yes, please.
I was just follow up.
You have follow-up on that? Okay.
Maybe we're gonna have to have you guys back.
No, we are going to sitting here. Go ahead, ask us. Thank you for asking these questions.
I'm just shocked that you would stop reporting data.
I am.
This is almost like, okay, this doesn't look good, let's not talk about it.
Yeah.
That's what it sounds like.
And then, and
I agree with you, Elaine. I have to, as a taxpayer and with no child in my home, that's the only word I come up with, despicable. You're responsible for the data and the care and the welfare of our children. And we don't report anything. I'm sorry, I'm taking your question away from you.
It's just really shocking me. If we need data, so you know what you're looking at and what we need to do. It just, I'm flabbergasted that it'll just ignore that piece. So don't talk about it. And as you guys are mentioning, it's skyrocketed. I mean, with the amount of problems you hear at Salem Kaiser School, $1 million sounds like nothing compared to the big budget and the benefit that came with this. So this has been going for 6-7 years now. And it sounds like the board knows this is an issue, yet it's not been brought up to be resolved. Well, it feels like it's snowballing, it's getting worse, right?
Yes,
So, and I don't know, your last one, so we know there's issues and I think it's clear, thank you for being here, thank you for sharing this with us. How can you push the board, how can you voice on behalf of the community for they to take steps to reinstate this for the benefit of the students? What can you do? Because it sounds like nothing, I'm not blaming you, I'm just saying as a whole, it sounds like there's issue. They're aware of it, we're just not talking, it's the elephant in the room, right? So. For us, for our committee, what can we do in order to push the border to address?
and so our board composition changed in 2020. And so that's when the first attempt to stop the data from being reported. Then I wrote an op-ed in Kaiser Times saying, how many more children should we sacrifice before we can be honest, transparent, and think? You can go back and look at that Kaiser Times op-ed. Because I truly shared the data and said, this is not acceptable. Then they started discussing it, sharing the data, but no discussion was allowed. Then now everything is stopped. So this is what I saw, this thing like the train wreck happening right in front of my eyes. And I would ask, that's the only reason I ran for the election in 2019 is because we had 20 completed youth suicide in Marion County in 2018. So I have brought this up at multiple things. One, it's time for your committee to write directly. Because because the agenda is decided by the board leadership, not by the two of us. So it's really time for parents. This is not a minority majority issue. This is not Latino, black, white issue. This is, in fact, the data shows that children from the minority community are the worst getting affected. So what did we achieve? I have no idea. This is not social justice in my point of view when kids are disproportionate. And I cannot confidently say, I can't even keep track of, is there a disparate impact on Black and Latino community? Because that's a civil rights Title VI issue. And I have no way to even know we are violating our communities. So this to me is a community issue. And I really would ask that community has to start asking us. And we need to, all stakeholders have to step up and put pressure on the board and the board leadership to bring it up in agenda and get it back as one of the goals is to have transparent data so community also knows what are the options.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Robin and then I'm gonna go to Larry for final wrap ups. I would like it if you guys can come back again, though, maybe like April, so that we can dive into this.
Is it the same? Okay, yes, thank you.
I no doubt believe that your job is very difficult, given the deficit you're sitting in. But a couple of times I've heard some things. We talk about data. As data is coming in, I guess part of my question is going to be, how are you using that data? And because the board knows that not reporting these things to the national group is not necessarily a good idea, why are you not doing it? And yes, I believe that diversity is a community issue. I am a person of color, and I believe also it begins in the schools and at homes. So my question is, what are you doing with the data as it's rolling in? And why is the school board so afraid to attack bullying in the schools and worry so much about funding? Because you're putting money in front of our kids. And if I had kids, I'd be in front of you every single meeting asking the same question.
I was just thinking, I wish we could see you in the board.
I will be at the next meeting.
It's truly,
Right.
it's accountability, is what it
Okay.
is, so.
Larry,
No, I asked my question.
okay. Go ahead.
My question was. Okay,
You want an answer, right?
Yes.
I do want an answer.
So, and you said, sorry, what's the actual?
I said, what you're gathering data, are you using the data as you go along, or are you just stockpiling it for a time in the future? And why is the school board so afraid to address bullying? Because you're talking about money, and yeah, you're $23,000 in debt, and I'm really sorry about that, I pay my taxes. But I think the lives and the safety of our children and your daughter not getting a head concussion at this age is something that the school board should jump up and down over.
Yeah, I agree. We totally agree. Well, like he said, it's like the not reporting the data, kind of like the sweep under the rug thing, it suddenly was, oh, don't talk about that. It's a political issue. Wait a minute, we're nonpartisan. These are our kids. I don't comprehend it. I still don't comprehend it. I wish I had an answer for you. I do not have an answer. We are not, we don't get voted onto the chair or the vice chair positions to have influence on the agenda. We ask, we request, that's the end of that. So I wish I had a better answer for you about that one. I cannot fathom it still. I don't know why it's like you've said curse words. We don't talk about that, is what it feels like, just again, personally as a citizen, as a community member, as a parent, those things. As far as the data, I don't know about that because that has also been one of my questions. And I won't tell you about the response I got when I finally thought, okay, I got this deputy superintendent, we're having a meeting just one-on-one, I'm getting an answer. It totally went to something completely different, academics. And so I left, I said, wait a minute, we still have time, that, you know, you didn't answer my question. So I bet the head of the safety would really be excited about, for the district, speaking on that topic. So we can share this communication that we've had this meeting tonight, again, with our gender planners, and see if they can't incorporate a way for him to speak about it. I know he's done different things in the past to try to answer that specific question. Thank you.
Yeah, anything,
Sorry, I didn't mean this to be so harsh, but we're talking about.
No.
principal.
No.
no, without measuring, you cannot change anything, simple as that.
And just to rephrase, it was this Claggett Creek elementary school that the issue is that they're having problems with.
Claggett Creek Middle.
Middle.
Oh, yeah.
Middle.
That's where my daughter had that problem, actually, and Whitaker too. There was a gang of girls that were beating girls up. My other daughter would come home every day crying, saying, Mom, I told staff, I told all the teachers they are threatening that they've been following this girl around at lunch and they're threatening to beat her up. And then one day they beat her up and they said there's nothing that they can do.
Yeah, so it's Claggett, but
Not Kennedy, you mean your story? I'm sorry.
no, yeah, I was
Mine
thinking,
is Ken.
hers is Kennedy.
Okay.
Mine's the school I was talking about is Claggett.
Okay.
But I've seen bullying where the person that was being bullied took the matter into their own hands because they weren't getting the help that they needed. And people got hurt. Now, I just moved to the Kaiser community 4 years ago. I don't want to see that happen here because this is middle school, this is the middle school kid. And kids that are being bullied. And no adults are wanting to stand up for these middle school kids. It will be a very sad time that these middle school kids decide that they feel that they have to take it and defend for themselves because we as adults aren't defending them. Why? And this is a question that was asked at this situation back then. Why did we have to wait for that to happen? Why did we have to wait for this person do what they had to do, what they did? Why didn't we come to that person's aid that was crying out? That family came to the board, family came to the school, and everybody turned their back. Why is that happening here? Why is Kaiser Salem Kaiser School District turning their backs on these kids. I would hate to see this in a high school level. But I'm seeing it with babies, young kids, and I work at school district, I work at Kaiser or Salem Academy. So I get to mentor kids that come to that school, and then I also a mentor for Valor Mentoring. So I work with kids. I don't want to see that. When the only thing we have to do is defend these kids. And parents are crying out to the school that their babies go to. And these parents don't know what to do now. Because the school won't help them. And my question is, why are we waiting? Because the fuse is lit now. Why are we waiting for the explosion? Before we decide we want to do something like with the data. Why are we waiting for an explosion?
Ms. Reporter, thank you for sharing this. I really appreciate that you're sharing this. I really want you to know that. It pains me. 6.5 years I've sat and I've gone on the radio, I've gone on the newspaper, tried. I really would like a little bit of what I call the tailwind. It has been headwind for wrong reasons. I think it's time for our community, in all of us, to start saying, no, this is our children. There is no role, there is no room for bullying, violence in school. It is public school, it's taxpayer paid public school. Each of our children bring in $30,963 worth of your tax. So you have a right to say, no, we are leaving our children in your school. So I really think this is going to require each and everybody to speak up and literally demand, because we can't just say, sorry, we don't want to put that in the agenda, we don't want a discussion. Those kind of narrow things, there's no room for it.
But you got parents speaking up.
Yeah, so what I
Nobody's
suggest is
listening to them.
correct, there's nobody's listening. So here is what I would suggest. Not only parent and any community member. Not only you start with the principal and send a copy of that email to the superintendent, but also include individual board members. Don't send it to the whole board together, but send it to individual board members. All you have to do is click on the thing. Even to, suddenly I noticed even the email access was gone. I had to make noise. I went to the Salem Reporter and said, this is what is going. So we got the email access back. There has to be a two-way communication with community. And so to me, it reflects on our board. As a board, we are responsible. So what I suggest is you please send an email to the board, individual board directors, all 7 of us, including the superintendent, and say, this is what is happening, we are not getting a response. And at that point in time, it gives us the story to kind of say, why is this happening? In addition to that, asking for the data transparency. There is no organization, we cannot achieve civil rights, social justice if we are not sharing the data. That's a fundamental requirement for anything to change. And keep sending. If you're not satisfied, you send it. And if you're not satisfied with our board, there is also a way to go all the way to state level. If you suspect that there is a criminal involvement, you have a right as a parent to go to the law enforcement and file a complaint. Nobody can take that away from each one of you. So you have to use more than one approach, in my opinion, because that's not against anybody. That's the right thing to do, as that's being empowered citizens. So for a child to be literally stalked and till the next count, city, and day and night, this is happening. That has gone on too long, and that's not acceptable in the school nor in the community. And we can't say that's not my jurisdiction. For me, child is child. Community or home or thing, if it adversely affects their learning experience, even if they are being stalked online in the end of the day or nighttime, that still is covered by our policy. So we have a gap we are seeing here, and it's really important that we tell those families to send a little summary to the school board, individual directors, and say, I want a response from each one of you. Then it gives me an opportunity to go to the superintendent and say, this has happened, why is this missing? And if you're still not satisfied with 7 of us, you have a way to go all the way to the state level. So that what I'm trying to say is escalated starting from principal all the way. You think the child is being stalked across in the community, law enforcement, Safe Oregon is another place, and they can triage that information and say, who needs to get involved?
Thank you. We're going down the line, it's up to you, we're doing final thoughts and questions.
But this took a lot of time. I can't even get to the third question. I'm glad I sent you the link.
Anticipated, Don, I'm extremely sorry.
No.
Elaine, final thought?
I'd like you guys to come back.
Oh, you call us
I
better.
think, I mean, I have my questions here, but then again, thank you for being here. We have more to cover on our meeting still, but I have a lot to digest myself. I do have questions, but I think I need to think through everything's being shared, everything I've heard from our committee, everything you guys have to share, and I would love to invite you guys to come back. Maybe we have more time to think about it, have more questions shared, perhaps. Not solutions, but thoughts you guys to take back to the board. So it can maybe, as you mentioned, putting pressure, to have some of those addressed, because the data has me. I lost track of everything else, like no data. We are here, this committee actually for a few months talk about data ourselves, so we can better help our community. So I don't know if you guys have worked with 37,000 kids in school.
Yeah,
right?
37,208 kids
And no
as of
data.
last year.
That is. But, thank you.
Thank you. You will have an email probably tomorrow to invite you back. Probably for April, that may give you a little bit of time to try and help us get some answers to all the questions. Do you need anything from them at all, Don, or do you have it?
No, I have everything that I need for the record, and all of the materials that they sent to me are already on the website and the meeting materials, and it's attached to tonight's agenda.
You're awesome. Tim, can I make a motion for city council to help us advocate on this and maybe write a letter to the school board?
You most certainly can.
Can I get a second?
I second it.
I'll let you decide who's second. All in favor?
Uh,
Aye. Thank you, Tim. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate Chair and committee members. This means a lot, 6.5 years has not gone waste. I've been asking, and thank you for. Thank you.
Thank you. Jeez.
Thank you. All right, so next on our agenda is the survey.
Pretty comprehensive.
It is very comprehensive.
Nice job.
So was there anything on the survey that doesn't fit? And Tim has a certain, I think, couple of questions that city council had for us. I think it was 13, 14, and 15, Tim.
Correct. So the majority of the survey that you're looking at are standardized questions that this company sends to every city that participates in this program. So the questions 1 through 10, I believe, are all standardized. We did exclude some questions based on services that the city doesn't provide. So things like dog control, since we have no dog control, we outsourced that to the county. We didn't want to ask residents about dog control, and then they say we don't have it. So some of those things are out. But questions 11 through 15 are the ones that we've specifically added at the department and city council level. So I'm hoping that you folks spend a little bit of time looking at those ones. And then let me know if there's anything that you feel that we're missing, long ads, that kind of a thing. We are planning on bringing this to the next city council meeting for approval, and then we'll kick it out. So kind of, unfortunately, tonight's kind of our opportunity.
Okay, so I'm gonna start at the end. Was there anything on the survey that you thought didn't fit and wanted clarification, pulled out?
I do have a question. It just seems a little long, and I'm just wondering if, I mean, if this has been tested before, that, you know, because this, I mean, I know there's only 50 questions, but there's, you know, several.
Yes, there is several pages. I did an experiment and said, honey, I need you to look at this and fill this out. He's like, you want me to what? It took him 10 minutes to do the whole thing.
Okay.
It doesn't take a ton of time. Which is really what I wanted, because he's not a survey person. I was like. Just humor me, I'm starting my timer, and it took him 10 minutes to get it completely done, so it's not real lengthy.
And the last part seems like it's more. General. You know. The last page, just kind of who you are.
Which
Yeah,
that's
it
what
took me only 10 minutes when I read through it too, maybe 11, but I thought I was like, oh my God, also.
Was there anything that stood out that you thought didn't fit,
No.
Larry?
Well, I know when I first looked at it, it reminded me like I went to a doctor, you know, when you first go to the doctor's office, like, why didn't you send this to me in the mail? So I can fill it out before I came to my appointment.
Yep.
Cause I know you deal with people who. You know, the literacy isn't that, you know, it's really bad. And they'll look at this and they'll look at it like it's a. You know, a 20-page book.
Right.
Because you got one question, but then you got like 15 questions within one. And so, but then for us, 10 minutes, I mean, no big deal, but for some people, you know, it's like, they'll look at it and it might take them a half an hour.
Right.
So I don't know if there's a way this can be cut down any. For people like that, I don't see anything that should be in there. But I'm not one of those people that struggle. But I was one of those people that struggled until I got the help I needed it. But you know, especially when you got people that are coming into you know, to the United States. And to Kaiser and really don't, their English and reading isn't that great. And they're gonna look at this and they're gonna like, I don't understand. Or is there any way we can make it easier for them?
Maybe we can. When the city puts it out, perhaps. Also put a line in there, like if you have questions, you could go to the library. And the ladies that we have, they're non-partial. Or maybe even designate a city staffer who can help when they come to the window. To help them sit down with the survey, read the questions and help them with the answers. Or. I think come to Kaiser Times office and I help them with it, but yeah, I think that might be a good idea.
Isn't it
To
right
put
at a high
instructions.
school level? So that it helps with that barrier.
I don't know the exact level it was written for. It was, I mean, there is a lot of words there.
There is a lot of words.
This will be in multiple languages when the time comes. So there'll be an option to select that. I can't remember, I want to say there was like 20 different languages. This will be available in.
Well, cause I had one, Jackie and I took the bus the other day and I'm like, can you look at it? Like, not on my phone. I said, well, it will be available on your phone, but right now I just kind of want some feedback.
I also believe there's an option to be able to complete this over the phone, so someone, if you need to talk with someone, they'll work you through the questions as well.
Elaine?
Thank you. Jan, remind me, when did Kaiser last have a survey like this? I think I mentioned like in 2020 or something like that.
Well, and an official survey through a survey company, I want to say it was 2009.
Okay, so
So
almost
it's
a
been
year.
quite a few years. And we have done some informal surveys through using SurveyMonkey,
Mhm.
those kind of things, but however, I think we've realized that some of the results, are kind of skewed with those.
Okay, so because we're talking, hearing here how lengthy this is, however. This is considered fairly comprehensive considering how long it's been the last formal survey. And consider that data are trying to gather, so for the city and okay. How, I don't recall, how is this gonna be, is it random people being selected to fill out or anybody designing Kaiser gonna fill out?
There'll be two surveys going at the same time. So one will be a statistically significant survey. And they're gonna randomly pick, I believe, 4,000 residents. And then from that 4,000, I think they're hoping to get 400 survey responses back. And that should be enough to be representative within 5% of the population.
Okay,
The second avenue, they'll provide us a link that we can give to whoever we want to. And they'll collect as many survey responses as we can get. The results will be separate, so we compare the statistical to the, I guess they call it a snowball type of survey, where you throw your snowball at one person, they throw it at another, and then they throw it at another.
Yeah, it's typically how I do things.
so. Random 4,000, hoping that 400 will be filled out. If a survey is not fully filled out, do those count? Or like an election, if you don't, if only fill half of the survey, those are not counted.
I believe they'll be counted for the questions that they respond to.
Okay, so on the second portion where the city can send that link for people to respond, is this something that maybe could go on the website and just invite residents to voluntarily fill them out?
Absolutely, we'll post it on social media, website, anywhere. Kaiser Times, a great place.
Yeah, and I'm supposed to let the neighborhood associations know as well, so the neighborhood association can do it.
So, and when those people are invited to, sorry, I'm gonna keep on my phone now. When they are invited to fill that out, do they have then a time frame like this? Sort of takes 10-15 minutes to be filled out, because at least for me personally, when I get my things from my doctor or whatever. I always look at the time and I do have right now 10 minutes to do this, I have a half hour, or I'm gonna just do it tonight. Or not do it at all, so when they get invited, will they have the time frame so they know?
I believe that they will, I'll double check.
Okay, thank you, that's all I have. And overall, I'm just looking at the questions to me. They seem fine, I think. From the conversations we've had, everything we're trying to accomplish here. Even though it's a little bit lengthy, so to speak, I think it'll gather the information. I think you'll gather the data that are looking for, both for the city and for the committee, so it looks good to me, I'm excited, thank you.
Do we need to make a motion to do anything or?
Nope, I appreciate
Because
that, and I'll.
I really like the revised version. Cause my original had, this doesn't fit, this doesn't fit, this doesn't fit, so when I got this, I was like, yes. Everything I had marked off is gone. So it made it easy. Any other feedback on the survey? Good to go, Tim. All right, so strategic plan, back to Tim.
I would say in light of the time, maybe we push this agenda item to the next meeting. This will give you folks an opportunity to read through the strategic plan. There is no action item for this group at this point. However, I think it would be great if we could at some point look it over, talk about it, and identify areas that we could have CDs involved.
Perfect, Don, will you make sure that's added on for March? Sounds really already. Okay, All Nations Day. So, go ahead, Bonnie.
Well, thank you, Chair. So. I did not see this beforehand, Robin, but thank you for putting together the event. I did not know was this. We have done such a comprehensive job breaking it down.
That's the strategic plan.
No, there's another one. No, this is the commission.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, most not the one to see. I think I know I brought up questions about this event before, and I was just looking back on my notes from the last 6-7 months, so I've been in this committee since May, and I think most of us have. Jane was still with us until she left in June. And we originally have a couple of things they were trying to accomplish, that cards, we talked about the training video and participating on those events with the city, the soccer day, public day, and last camp. We are here now talking, we talked about so many things that I feel that I have not accomplished tangibly anything. Not because we don't want to, just because it goes back to the city, or there's always something that keeps postponing our goals, and we had pretty simple ones when I joined it. So I have a little bit, not a concern, but reservation in tackling, adding to our list when we have not been able to cross anything out. We have not been able to figure out if we could do the barbecue with the police for the last camp. It's being planned. Yeah, but we have not crossed that out. We're planning on it, but it has not been done. That part has not been done, keeps going back to the city, keeps coming back, have not done that. I don't think we've made any plans for participating in any, we talked about participating on other public days. We have not, we don't have anything tangible. We talked about the video training too, about people signing up for how to sign up to volunteer for committees. I don't know what happened with that. We talked, so there's a lot of things that we've talked about it that we have not crossed off. So to tackle an event, which is pretty significant based on what you said, I mean, it looks beautiful. But I have reservations in adding to our plate. I'd like us to cross a couple little things before we add to it. I'd love to see the select cards done. I'd love to see the training video progress on it. I'd love to have a plan of where participating on these days, or the barbecue. There's nothing. So I'd like to put a motion to just halt this for now until we can get something else done. I'd love to have the events, but we have not accomplished anything. I'm gonna be here in December, reporting to the council that in a year and a half here, we maybe had an event, maybe. There's a lot of things that they asked us to do that have not done. We've talked about since June about having this meeting outside somewhere. It's been 7-8 months. We have not been able to do that. Little plans we have not accomplished, so I am concerned about.
In just a minute, I wanna go down the line
So that's my
to make
reservation.
sure everybody has a chance to say their piece for this, and I'm gonna start at that end, because I know you're gonna be a little late with your explanation.
No.
You don't have any reservations about putting All Nations Day together? When,
I thought we had form a subcommittee for that. Yeah.
we did,
So,
her concern is
I
that
understand the
she,
concern.
yeah, she
But I
just wants to put it on the back burner until the smaller stuff is
Are
done.
they different people working on different things? I mean, that's. not-
No, I think it's good.
What I'm trying to say, we started something else. Back in late June, we started talking about the CDAC cards, which that was being working before we came along. They're done. We cannot, no, they're not.
No, I just,
correction on the,
But
and this correction actually was originally on those cards.
But this is started back in May.
so Tim, you
Yes,
wanna
that
address the CTEC cards before we get off?
Sure, so we were gonna have them at the last city council meeting for approval. When we did the review process, we noticed that the purpose statement wasn't the purpose that was listed on the appendix. And that was one of the things that the city council had requested. And I believe that's the last thing before we're gonna hit the print button. We'll take them to the next city council meeting for approval. And then I believe it'll be probably a day or two to go.
We're talking
Okay, so
about,
that's the
17th.
17th, right? The Tuesday, cause Monday's a holiday.
so, once the city approves, does it come back to us, or does it?
No, it's done.
Goes to the printer.
Goes to the printer. So on the 17th, if they approve it, we are done. Tim can send it to the printer and that's it. Check mark. Larry,
I agree with her, cause it's like building a home. Or I'll even use my friend as an example, he been working on his house 4 years, remodeling it. Because he's always starting a new project. And he's never got done what he started.
right,
But he's always got these projects going. And it's like, but not that, I'm be dead before I even get to see the first project done.
mm-hmm,
Your kids are gonna have babies. And so I understand what she, what she
I
is
do
saying.
too, and that's what I'm hearing in the community too. In the community, I'm hearing, number one, they don't think it's something that they're ready to deal with. As I've been talking to people, they're not really on board yet. Because they're not seeing results with what that task. Now I'm gonna give Robin a chance.
Before we go around, how long are we going?
We are almost done.
Only thing I have to say is this. Actually, we were to have an off-site meeting in April, if we go back and look at our minutes, and I believe either Tammy or Tim was supposed to be talking to the minister. Now, if those actions and people don't do their job and we have to wait another 30 days, yeah, all we're doing up here is going blah, 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 and that's what the community sees. As far as those cards go, I got right on those. My production manager created them. And then there were little tiny nitpicky things that had to be changed. And I had to wait every 30 days to get accomplished. And then there was a lot of blah, blah, blah. I am very confident. And from the people that I have talked to in the community, leaders in the community, they're very excited to have this happen. Because they want an event that is timed to Kaiser, that brings in, this is not a one-time event, this event would be annual. And to bring everybody together, given the culture of the environment of today, where we have a lot of diversity, we need to bring it all together and engage it and teach people. I am extremely confident that in 10 months, this project will come to fruition. It is I have put a major city project together in 3 months.
Yeah.
And it was
Support you.
extremely. So if this committee doesn't have confidence we can get it done. Okay. I just need to know, so I don't waste time putting a budget together, making up maps and. Finding sponsors and walking the community and finding sponsors for this already, talking to them. So that the city doesn't use taxpayer funds to take care of it. I believe at the last meeting, we all were able to take a chip of it. And I said that I was more than willing to meet with every single one of you, including Larry with his barbecue that was going on.
Yeah.
To help guide and move you along. It is not that ominous of a project, but if we've got community leaders thinking that this is not a project we should take on. Then what else are we gonna do?
or have to
Do. Like,
So I think.
mean, when I went down the priority list, I would already checked, everything was checked down.
The CDAC card has been it's been one thing that's been snowballing for.
Well, that's been in the works for 7 months, so I
I get it.
understand the process is timely. And
It,
because we only meet once a month, it does make things lag. Now, with the offsite meeting, I met with the pastor the other day and she still has. Things on her end, church wise. That she's not able to meet work, but when I talked to the fire department, he said, sure, just have. Tim reach out and see what we got available on the date.
For,
And it's an off-site meeting, it's ADA accessible.
alright,
The owl is available, the last I knew for that. Cause when we were talking about it for the church, we talked about using the owl.
so are we gonna get?
So we have to decide, do we want Tim to move forward with the fire department for our off-site meeting? And then that was set for, I don't have the date for me, I think April. I don't think we can meet April,
Why not?
maybe.
This is February, this is, we got March. See, this is, if we keep
Yeah,
putting the
but
date
keep in mind,
out,
although we could invite the school board to join us at that meeting.
why not? The president of the school year would know what they have, in Bradford at home. You're true. The school board could come back in March or in May. I think it's more important for us to get a meeting out into the.
Tim,
public.
is that something you can arrange with the fire department for us to host our off-site meeting in March? No, April.
Absolutely.
That'll give us you, really. Although April, Tim is gonna be swamped. We wanna see if we can pull off March's meeting.
What does it
Off-site,
look like for you, Tim? What is the least worst time for us to help you?
April is
April would-
prepping for budget,
April-
so I wanna
Usually
make
worse.
it as easy as possible. And I don't wanna
April would
add
be
a lot
better
to your
time
plate.
For us to be able to do that, because that would give us a little bit of time for publicity.
Okay, so April is okay?
Mhm.
I don't know what the date is.
It's the second. It'll be the second again.
Yeah,
Because it's the next Wednesday. So. I understand they're wanting to do this project. And I think I've mentioned a couple times before the lean idea, right? We have all those ideas we're talking about, and so much profit off. I'd rather have couple little things, especially after we came into this board after 108 and made it. It was fresh. I'd rather come back to the council the end of the year when our term is up, like, okay, we didn't have an event, but we crossed all this off, really, all those little projects very much crossed it off. Instead of having 10 items and maybe just.
I
cross it
can
off.
tell you Sunday doesn't work for me, cause I'm at church on Sunday. So can we come up with a different date?
I personally rather have this committee. Be able to come back and say, did Sunday, we did the video, we did. The cards, we did the survey, I'd rather have those little things. To come back and say, we accomplished them,
Okay, so
then have a big.
who wants to put All Nations Day off until we have some of the other items done?
I would put a motion to halt the all nations idea for now. Until further notice, until we can get some of those other items and we talk about treatments and.
Okay, all in favor? Aye.
All opposed,
Opposed? All Nations Day is a hold until. We come up with,
Cross some items off.
Well, it's
Some other-
September, right?
well, it's
So-
October, but it's a Sunday, which when I was talking to people, they were like. It's a Sunday, we have church, it's a church day,
Saturday.
but we can. Talk about it and kind of. Not let it die, but. Develop it into a stronger plan.
I'd like us to be able to have some of the. I'd like us to see. Cost off some of those items before creating new ones, so if you get it, the meeting outside, we got the CVEX kind of get.
Right, and I'm not saying that we
Okay, we
plan
can,
it.
we have now time, we accomplished a couple things, now we can go tackle something else versus.
Right, and I'm not saying
Yeah.
just forget it all together, I'm saying Let's focus on the other things that are
Then we've been,
more pressing.
then we've
And
been asked
keep playing.
to by the city
Right.
council.
What we have out there then is the CDC card that will go to council this at point 17, which I'm more than confident will get passed. So we check that off. The city card is passed, so that's a check off. We're going to do the meeting offsite, that's a check off. The video for BCC.
Oh, yeah.
Is completed May 11th. It'll be completed May 11th.
Okay.
We'll be bringing the script to the city council on the 17th.
So on that topic, Robin,
guess
can you
what I-
update everybody on that process, because not everybody has been in the loop.
I was not aware of that.
So I guess my point is, within the next few months, pretty much all of our small little things will be completed.
Hopefully, yeah.
I mean, oh, and I'm very confident they will be, Elena. There's no hope.
Well, we're trying to do, so I believe when I see it, some of those items are talking about June or July, so once they're done.
So why don't you give everybody an update on
The following
the
week,
process?
Leslie
That's
Wrightwood
going on.
and Jane Hurd and I oh my God, who was the other one? Leslie,
Fausto.
Jane, I and.
Fausto.
Who?
Fausto.
Oh, no, not Fausto, he wasn't able to attend. Oh, I guess it was just me, yeah, Jane and Leslie and Ashley met at McNary High School, they're going to take on this project. The video itself will be anywhere between 3 to 5 minutes, they're going to be using more than likely, city staff and, students. The location will be filmed in a couple of different places. Once that is launched and in good shape, what we're gonna do then is go through that video, they're gonna go through that video. Where there should be a sidebar. Such as click here and we will define that question for you, or here's more information about that committee. But that's in the future, and as far as our target date for completion to be online is May 11th.
Our work session with city council is scheduled for when, Dawn? March 30th. March 30th.
Yes, I'll.
It wasn't on my new agenda, I didn't bring my template one. Okay. So along with that, can we get a list of all the items that were tasked out? Because part of this I was not here for, so I don't have a clue. So that we can say at that meeting, this is what we were tasked with and this is when it was completed. Or this is the process and estimated end date of.
Yeah, we can bring that back at the next meeting.
Okay. When Jane was here, I was not. So there's some things that I am still playing catch up on, although I'm almost there.
Also, with that follow-up, I just wanted to let you know that I have contacted my people at the Energy Planning and Public Works. Rhonda's Rich is gonna be the emergency planning committee person who's gonna come and talk to us in April.
Are we there yet? I think it's to talk about, we need to finish our topic, we're finishing the next topic. We should see with the.
Is there,
Different things.
I was just finishing my committee stuff, sorry.
I think we need to, so we postpone the
Yes.
strategic plan. We halted for now,
Paused,
we paused the orations, okay, so now.
committee's done.
which is
With that, talking about the volunteer committee video.
what I was having Robin cover.
And emergency planning meeting, Rhonda Rich will be here in April, the Kaiser Public Works Commission, I've got that coming, in May.
And is she doing arts in May, Rebecca?
Kaiser Public Arts Committee, I think,
Yeah.
read, yeah. And then I've got my people lined up for Indigenous Day, I've asked Geraldo to be back. And then I've got, Liberty House is coming for child abuse prevention, actually it'll be Peter, who is a part of a group that is kind of an oversight for Liberty Casa, and that's it. I have an ask, I seriously have scoured all of my files, all of my emails, I cannot find it, I do not have a women's history person or group or committee, I have no idea where to find somebody. Help,
Heritage Center,
no,
reach out. What?
the Heritage Center has heritage history of Kaiser. If this is women's history month.
Right, but they should have something in their files they can share. Let me check on that.
I can check with Robert, but. Anyway. And that's where I'm stuck, and that's for March 6th.
Did we pick out a date for the barbecue? That's where I couldn't find on my paperwork.
I think we were gonna do it on the same time that they had planned it from last year. We were just part, so you have to check with Chief Russell or.
Oh, no, it's, so your barbecue is gonna be part of Blast Camp,
And that's in
all right?
August, yes,
You know,
it's in August.
Tim,
I actually have an update on Blast Camp from Chief Copeland. He's in, I think he's in Aruba this week, so.
yeah, he was gonna try and Zoom.
Maybe I'll go there and meet with him.
Right?
We have a budget to go.
Yeah.
Bodyguard.
yeah, they're.
Usually you need two.
So anyway, they're gonna be going back to their old format, so they're not gonna be doing just a standalone barbecue this year. At least that's the tentative plan. They've actually not put a lot of planning into it just yet. They have a tentative date of June 29th through July 1st. That's a Tuesday through a Thursday. They're still waiting to confirm on a location. They're working with the school district, and I guess the school district can't confirm until the end of March. He said at this point, they're not necessarily looking for volunteers to help out at Blast Camp because they think they have that covered. However, they are looking for donations. They typically say the Blast Camp costs about $4,500. Let's see. The city typically kicks in about $2,500, so there's still a $2,000 spread. They're gonna be doing some fundraising for. We do anticipate probably 250 to 300 kids will be involved. But at this point, like I said, probably no big barbecue like they did the last couple of years. And so that could be a new opportunity for us that we can discuss, maybe the next meeting if we want to do something.
And now it's on June 29th till.
July 1st.
July 1st. So can I recommend maybe working with Claggett Creek Watershed Council for Soggy Day at the park? I think is, well, the Civic Center cleanup. Oh, I didn't bring my flyer. Tim,
A couple of dates to keep in mind, City Hall cleanup is March 14th, and that's a Saturday. So at our next meeting, we'll have one opportunity before that happens to figure out if we want to be involved somehow or just show up as a volunteer crew to help clean up around City Hall.
I don't know. Show up.
The other items that are gonna be coming soon, Soggy Day in the Park, which is put on by the Claggett Creek Watershed Group. That will be the end of May. I don't have the specific date yet.
Because we haven't picked one yet.
The Public Works Day is middle of June. So those things.
Do we have a date yet for Public Works Day?
Not that I'm aware of. Those are the historical dates that we've seen in the past. So as we get to probably the next meeting, we'll have probably some fairly solid dates for all of those.
So I'm part of Claggett Creek Watershed Council, so I can check with Mark and Jeff and see if we can partner with them for one of those events. Or both of those events, it's up to you,
And so go ahead and cross out that, so then I won't.
because if Blast Camp is going back to the original plan, they usually meet at a school or in a church. if I remember right, it's been a while.
They're looking at a school location right now, but the school won't connect till until the end of March.
So what I can do is reach out to them, I'll tag Dawn and then Dawn can plaster everybody else because I don't wanna get into the serial meeting thing. The headache I choose not to take on.
So what is Soggy Day?
How do you describe Soggy Day? It's a day we all get together and meet at, it's always Kaiser Rapids Park.
Yeah, that's what I've been to. And if
Kaiser
you-
Rapids Park is where we do Public Works Day too, cause I think we're in the back of the kids code. Kids really love that day. Soggy Day at the park, we usually have some resources, bounce house. Food, boat rides and education. Mark brings the boat and takes us and talks about the river. It's basically the gist. We had about 1,200 families last year. It is, it's really, really busy. So what I could do is invite Matt Boyer to come and join us and or Jeff or Mark. And they can give you a really good idea of what those look like. So I will reach out to them and have them come to March.
Sorry, I missed who seconded Elaine's motion to put the All Nations Day on hold. I didn't hear, so who seconded it?
Oh, everybody,
Well, he did,
Ev-
that's my second.
Robin was a no. Mr. Rodriguez was a second.
She doesn't have second motion, it was.
Mr. Rodriguez, second. And then we all voted to put it on the back burner and Robin was
No.
a no. Sorry, Dawn, I should have checked to make sure you got all that. Larry,
Yeah.
any other stuff to share on committee reports? Okay. Nothing? No. No, I've already said a lot, so I'm good.
Oh, that's this, right?
Yep, we can talk about it too.
Who's, Elaine, are you gonna do the Juneteenth?
We're working on that, yes, so I have. I'm trying to remember, okay, so, June 1st, we're working on it, June 15th, we're working on it, I think we're all, what we. I was actually brainstorming with her, they're talking about maybe contacting the youth liaison. And see if somebody from high school
Okay,
can come in and share with us about Juneteenth, somebody from the community. Going to school to
so
share
I
about
did
that.
reach out on Monday to the youth liaison and she doesn't know anybody in that part of it, but I did touch base with. Huh? No. Oregon Family Support Network, they have a family rainbow support group that supports LGBTQ plus families of all. It's part of Juneteenth.
Oh,
And then.
Part
the
of
second-
Juneteenth?
no. No, they're two-
That can't be part of Juneteenth.
No, it's two different ones. Yeah, we're talking about, we're talking about.
Okay.
Do you have somebody, Larry?
Do you have somebody?
I can work on that with you if you want.
Yeah. Sure,
Cause I did Black History.
yes. You did a great job.
Yes, you
Cool,
did.
it's awesome.
So yeah, I can help with that Juneteenth if you want.
Yeah, I can connect with you on that one. And the September 8th, I'm still working on it.
Does anybody have anything prepped for suicide awareness? For September?
I haven't.
Yeah.
Actually, I have something from my car each call. It was, we have now the. 811, if I'm not mistaken, we have a suicide number, the same we have 911. We have also a 3-digit number that you call for suicide. And I have a card in my card because that design was developed by a high school in Woodburn. Was the high schoolers who developed that card in that project, so I can contact them
Mhm.
and see if they can talk about it.
Yeah, they have another one, so if you contact these guys. They can help with that.
Because I'm thinking since you got the June 1st and you got the September 8th. I can take the June 15th off your hand.
I can cross it off then.
Don, will you make that adjustment?
Yeah, was that the only one? You all were helping each other out, but that was the only one that you're switching.
Yes.
It was the June 1st and June 15th, then in January postponed to talk about it now. It was the only ones we haven't decided is the June 1st and June 15th. Although mine says it did.
Yes, so June 15th, I have Larry now.
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. And so, also, Larry, when I met with Marlene for Veterans Day. I know you said that you wanted to be part of that. So she would like to have some ideas of what you want. She and I thought that if we could get representation from each branch, it would be great. For military,
Okay.
for veterans. So. Think about that. And let me know. Cause we do have the new facility. On down in with. Wearmont. Armed forces and all of that.
Yes, it used to be where the chair place is across
Yeah.
from UPS. Into
Yeah.
that corner office.
That'd be exclusive.
Yes, Tim, you wanna give a council report real fast?
Nothing else to add tonight.
I don't know what time it is, meeting.
We have 8:18.
Oh, wait, who's gonna report to council? Let me look.
I think I was slated to.
Tuesday, February 17th, Tuesday.
That's
February
the week.
I'm just saying the date and time.
Oh,
It's a Tuesday, February 17th.
February 17th.
the Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, cause. Right, sounded very.
President's Day.
Do they have to live here for the Veterans Day? Cause I can get my son who was over in Qatar, he's a security force squadron leader in the Air Force. And then my adopted brother who started off as a Marine, but retired as an Army Ranger.
Wow. Yeah, who's not working on?